What's up, everyone? This is Rancer SF4, and today is the first part of my E3/Nintendo thoughts. And the first conference we're going to be talking about is the Microsoft conference. So Microsoft, as you already know, I made a rant video about their Xbox One console, about all the features that a lot of people don't give a shit about, why they barely revealed any games for, or any gameplay whatsoever of their games. So a huge controversy, and now let's talk about their conference here at E3. And I do want to keep in mind, I'm not going to cover every conference. Actually, I'm probably not going to cover the EA or the Ubisoft conferences, and mainly because that I'm probably either I'm going to be too busy or something, because I actually want to focus on the Xbox the Sony conference, and Nintendo's Direct video. Yeah, that's actually what I'm going to be focused on most actually. And I know some people might say, oh, you should have just covered EA conference or the Ubisoft conference. You should have done that. Yeah, well, I'm sorry, but to be quite fair, I'm not a huge fan of EA, to be completely honest. I mean, they've made a lot of bad business decisions in the past, and they still aren't to this day and stuff. And Ubisoft, I do like them a little, but I won't forgive them for the Rayman Legends delay in that stuff. But maybe later this week, if I do have time in that, maybe I'll watch them on YouTube, because these conferences are presented live on YouTube. And then maybe I'll do a thoughts video on those and that, but that might be by the end of this week. So anyway, so let's talk about the Microsoft conference now. I think this Microsoft conference, I will say, is a slight improvement from their original conference a couple weeks back. But at the same time, there are some negativity, though, that doesn't prevent from becoming a great conference or anything like that. So let's talk about the first thing that I was impressed that they focused on nothing but this throughout the entire conference, which is what they should have done in their press comments weeks ago: games. They focused on nothing but games. They probably listened to the fans, where the fans said, "Look, we don't give a care about this TV feature. We already know about this stuff. We don't own it. We don't care about this. We only care about the games." And so they probably listened and said, okay, we're going to focus on nothing but games and a few other stuff with it about the game. So that's all they did. Now keep in mind, I didn't make a list of all the games though, because to be honest, I just watched the press conference and some people's reactions to it, to be honest. Actually, I did watch the whole comments live in that. So unfortunately, I didn't write it down, so I'm going to have to try to remember all the games. If I do miss a few in that, maybe let me know in the comments below. And just let me know in the comments below if there are a couple games I missed in it, because there's a good chance that might happen. So one of the first games they revealed is a sequel to a franchise that is considered by many to be nothing but a movie game. Where it basically has way too many cutscenes and very limited gameplay. Is that they revealed the sequel of Metal Gear Solid 5. And it's only going to be an exclusive on the Xbox One. To which I said, oh, that's pretty great. The franchise is popular. I mean, yeah, true. There were way too many cutscenes, which made it pretty much a movie and not a game. And it had limited gameplay, but the games were still good because of its stories and stuff like that. And Kojima actually returns to direct the game just like he has done in the previous games. And here's an interesting fact. The voice actor who originally did Snake in the previous games has gotten replaced by a different voice actor, actually. And I think he's a movie star, something like that, who was an Academy Award winner in some movie, but I really don't know, actually, to be completely honest. I don't even know who did the voice of this Metal Gear Solid 5 Snake. But basically, from what I've seen in the trailer, or gameplay trailer, from what they show, is that they added in some new things that weren't really in the original previous games. Like, let me see here. They revealed like a real-time weather, which basically the weather changes later on. Real-time clock or whatever. And they definitely did show off some things actually that you would expect from a Metal Gear Solid game. Stealth, spying, and stuff like that. And in terms of the graphics of the game, I do think the graphics look really good, and I do think it's a little bit better than Metal Gear Solid 4's graphics. But keep in mind, I actually saw the gameplay footage of what Metal Gear Solid 4's graphics look like, and Metal Gear Solid 5's graphics look much better now. It looks more realistic, and the real-time weather is pretty neat though, but But what does that have to do with the gameplay? Like, what does it have to do gameplay? Like it doesn't really affect the gameplay that much, that stuff. Like, I don't know, though. But, anyways. Another game they showed off was, what was it? It was a racing game. I don't remember the name of the game, but it was a racing game where they showed off some showed off cars, vehicles and stuff like that, racing stuff. But to be fair though, well, it really wasn't that much of gameplay. It was just like a movie trailer or something like that. But this is and to be quite honestly, it looks like just an average, good, like I'll admit the graphics look good. It looks really great on the racing game, but the racing game I find is just going to be just a decent or a good racing game. That's just my opinion though. And the next game actually they showed up was a game called Rise. And Rise was actually and Rise, I will say it does look kind of interesting, I think. In my opinion, it's a third-person shooter actually. And it does look kind of interesting to me, but to be quite honest though, I'm not a huge fan of third-person or first-person shooter games. I'm not a huge fan of them. Like, I do like those games. Oh man, I have played some first-person and third-person shooter games, and I do like them a little bit, but I'm just not a big, huge fan of them. So I think this game does look interesting, but who knows. And this is possibly the game that I think, in my opinion, might be the biggest system-selling game actually for the system, and I think will sell the system like crazy when it comes out in that later this year. I was like, before I mention it, here's the thing. A couple weeks ago, Microsoft announced that Rare is going to be releasing a historic IP game in that they made over a decade ago, and is making a historic IP game. The game that they said is going to be an Xbox One exclusive, to which, again, I said that I think is going to be a system software game. I think will sell the system like crazy. Killer Instinct 3. Hey, that's right. Killer Instinct is making a return. Rare is finally bringing back the franchise and taking it today in today's modern era of games. They're finally making a return. And like I said, I think Killer Instinct might sell the Xbox One very well on launch day, since a lot of people didn't expect Rare to bring back this franchise. Think about it. It's been over a decade, or I'd say over 15 years since the last Killer Instinct game. And I think that's great that they decided to bring it back in there. And I think that's a great idea for fans of Killer Instinct. But there is one negativity though about this though. There were a lot of confirmations about the Xbox One, like saying it has to be on every 24 hours, and if not, you can't play online, and the Kinect being like a spy camera, keeping an eye on you and movement. So a lot of these have been confirmed in that, and here's the problem. In today's tournament fighting game community in that if they decide to use the Xbox One to play fighting games that are only exclusives on the Xbox One, then that's going to be a problem. Because think about it, the Xbox One has to be registered to the main user in that, and not by anybody else. Well, and second, since it has to be kept on every 24 hours or so, or something like that, but it's going to be a big pain in the butt for the fighting game community to try and keep this Xbox One connected if they decide to put in Killer Instinct 3 as a fighting game and for competitive play. And I think this is going to be a problem. And like I said, it's going to be a huge problem for the game community to try and get this thing to work. Like, how would it work? Look at that. No. Alright, so but like I said, from what I see in the trailer, Killer Instinct looks like it's going to be a pretty awesome fighting game. It looks really great. I'm glad that Rare is finally bringing back the franchise, but after Microsoft pretty much made them go downhill from here, ever since they bought Rare Studios back in 2000, what was it, 2000? I think it was 2001 that Microsoft bought Rare. Actually, that ever since Microsoft bought Rare has went downhill from there. That they don't make as memorable games or as really great masterpiece games as they once did before, and stuff like that. So I don't know how this game turns out. Like, keep in mind, Rare, from what a lot of people are saying, Rare has released a couple good games though ever since Microsoft bought them. It's just that some of them were big disappointments in that, and people thought they much just went downhill from here. All right, but overall, Killer Instinct, I think it's going to be a good game actually from the way it looks like. It definitely represents, just like the first few games, like having the same game elements that a lot of Killer Instinct fans are for. I think this game and that might sell the system actually. I think it will be a system seller because it was a huge popular game back in the 90s. I think as long as I think a lot of Killer Instinct fans will immediately go buy the console to play this game. Another game that came is called Project Spark. Okay, and this is probably a controversial thing, actually. It's a controversial thing because of, I don't know if I have something in here that, do I have something in? Nah, I don't have one. Anyways, I could maybe use one quick example. Well, keep in mind, I'm just only going to be using this DVD thing as an example. Smart Glass, which is pretty much a tablet that's been done since the early 2000s. Like, seriously. Just in case you don't know, Smart Glass is actually a tablet that's just like any normal tablet you would get nowadays. Yeah, which basically I think it's one made by, I think the Smart Glass is made by Microsoft, where basically when you touch the screen, actually you can do different things through the game actually. And here's a little bit of the controversy thing of this thing went on. Microsoft said that a lot of the other next few games they've announced later on in the conference is that they're all also compatible with the Smart Glass that you can use for gameplay. And here's the thing though, nobody doesn't like the Smart Glass. Like, nobody doesn't like it. Like, why would they use the touch screen to use that, when they can just play the normal game actually? And like, you know what I mean? A lot of people did not like the Smart Glass because of its features and stuff. And so what they said in Project Spark that you can actually use the touchscreen to create you can create some trees, you can create some mountains, some pretty little green grass. Yes. And you can also create a village, some creepy looking goblins, and some trolls. And then there's a big war going on. To which I say, I think it's going to fail. I'm sorry, but I think because that a lot of people don't like the Smart Glass, they're probably not going to get the Smart Glass again, even for this game actually, because a lot of people probably might not use it because they didn't like it that much. Yeah. So, anyways, the next game they announced that is also an Xbox One exclusive is that Dead Rising 3 is coming to the Xbox One. Is another, from what they said, another Xbox One exclusive. Now, this game, I think, looks pretty good, actually. Looks like it's going to be a good game. For what they said, it takes place about 3 days after a zombie apocalypse explosion happened. And basically, you got this guy who's not Frank West in that from the previous Dead Rising games. So then, you're basically what was his name? I forgot his name, but whatever. He's not Frank West. He's a different character. And basically, for what they showed in the gameplay, the guy played in the game a little bit. Is that, let me see here, oh yeah, they basically showed him playing, like, he grabs a handgun, duct tapes a flashlight to it so you can see in the dark, which makes it easy to see zombies. He even combines a giant wrench or a sledgehammer and duct tape it with a chainsaw, and he can do several different combos and stuff like that to kill these zombies. He's in that. To me, that's really good in that. But here's the problem. Smart Glass. Smart Glass, yeah. And here's the thing they described about the Smart Glass. They said that the Smart Glass for this is that if you press it in it, you can cheat the game. Like, you can throw tons of bombs in that. Like, say, for example, you have a crowd of 1 million zombies come at you. You want to try and get out of the situation easy? Just use Smart Glass. Bomb, 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 bomb. Kills tons of them at once. To which I say, like, okay, that's great if it's too difficult for you, but why would anyone use that if they use this in, like, playthroughs, or maybe if they use it for, like, multiplayer? But that's if this game has multiplayer. So, like, if it does have these features, does let you use this during multiplayer, I think people would prefer calling it cheating, actually. That would be like, oh, you're cheating, you keep spamming bombs. It's like, wow. It's like, good job, Microsoft, good job. Well, actually, no, I mean, good job, Capcom. Good job, Capcom. Good job, Ken, for adding a feature that allows the player to cheat into the game, actually. Oh, God. I mean, that's just dumb, actually. I'm not gonna lie. I think this is dumb, actually. I think it's personally dumb, in my opinion. So, let me see. And the next game they showed was Battlefield 4, which it plays just like the previous Battlefield games, but the graphics look a bit better. And they pretty much showed that the Battlefield 4 takes place mostly in the sea, actually, like around the, I'd say around the Atlantic Ocean, and I just want to check something here, like Atlantic Ocean and stuff. And it looks, like I said, the game does look great in terms of graphics and animation. The game itself, I think, is just going to be just a decent average first-person shooter game, actually, in that stuff. I do think the game looks decent, but might be a decent game, but that's just my opinion, though. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of first-person or third-person shooter games. That's my opinion. I gotta think of something here. Oh, okay. Sorry about that, people. The next game they revealed was called Titanfall. Now, this is actually a pretty unique game, and this one looks like a pretty good first-person shooter game, actually, in my opinion. It looks like a good one. Basically, it's in a war, futuristic, where basically these guys who wear these armors on actually have the ability to control these giant robots. Like, once they stun the robot, like the giant war machine robots, they can actually enter inside and take control of the machine. And they even show one part in this gameplay footage was that if you actually press the escape button or whatever button to get out of the suit, like if the robot suit is about to explode and kill you, you can actually pop right out of the suit, and if you want to, you can land right on top of another one and kill them that way. And that's what I saw. I will definitely say that I do think it plays just like every other first-person shooter game, but from what these things I've seen in that, it looks like it might be a good first-person shooter game. And again, it's another Xbox One exclusive. And another game they showed off that I thought was going to be pretty good was called Quantum Break. Or, was it Quantum Break? Yeah, I think it was Quantum Break. Basically, from what they explained, it's not a gameplay footage, it's more like a cutscene sort of thing. Basically what they showed is that there's this detective and this girl that he's with, and then they see this explosion happening and this girl that's like this, and apparently both her and the explosion were frozen in time. And so when the guy interacted with the female, well, that was frozen in time, she came back to life in that, and that was interacting with the world. But then as the time thing was starting to wear off, the explosion was starting to come back to life, so they survived the explosion. This, I think, is another good game. I think might be pretty good for the Xbox One, actually. Reason is because that, was that time trial that some people can move through it. So like that, I think the game might be good this way. Hey, only problem, we didn't see the gameplay. It was just a cutscene in that. So I don't know what it could be. It could be either just another first-person shooter game. Maybe it's a survival game. Who knows? It does involve time travel, so I guess it's a sci-fi game like most games are nowadays. So I don't know. And another one that they showed off was what was it? Oh, Dark Souls 2. That was one of the first few games they revealed. I forgot to mention. Is that it's a sequel to the original game. I think a lot of people will know that it's definitely going to be as hard as first one, but the first one was a good game for most gamers, so I think a lot of people who liked it the first one might get the system to get this one. But this is my opinion, though. And another game that they showed off was The Witcher 3. Now, here's the problem with Now, here's one thing that I think looks good on The Witcher 3. The Witcher 3 actually... The problem with... Actually, no, I shouldn't talk about the game. Here's an interesting fact, though. Witcher 2 was considered as way too hard of a game where almost no one could beat a game, so they pretty much released a patch in that for Witcher 2 that, to make it easier. So, who knows what Witcher 3 could look like. Maybe they could add in a difficulty selection where you could pick either the easy mode or the hard mode, depending on which type of gamer you are. Like, if you're a casual gamer, you can pick the easy difficulty. If you're a hardcore gamer, you can pick the hard difficulty level. It could be either way of the other. This is my opinion, but what the hell? Oh, it says Planet of the Blinds here. I just want to check the time quickly, people, just to see. So I think Witcher 3 might be just a decent game. I think it would be a decent game to actually... Oh, man, Alright, so I think the last game that I remember that they did show off was this CG cuts, it's computer CG scene in that trailer, where it showed this guy in a robe and you couldn't tell who it is, and people were like, oh, it takes place in the desert with a giant robot? This might look interesting. And then they pop it up, showed off, and it was Master Chief was like, oh my god, it's another Halo game. And it was like, not another Halo game. We're getting tired of these games. Wait, please, we know these games are good. We're just getting tired of seeing the same thing. He's like, I think, oh god. Now keep in mind, this is not a launch title, actually. This is coming out in 2014, by the way. Halo 5. Even that stuff. And, I think it's just going to be a boring one. I know it may look fun in it. It is a fun game for Halo fans, but for non-gamers who saw the same gameplay, I think they're going to get tired of it in there. And another couple things I do mention, they mentioned that Minecraft is going to make a comeback. It's going to come back for the Xbox One edition. It's like, a lot of people have played the game. I know it's very popular and the most popular game and the best-selling game on the Xbox Live for Xbox 360. But I think a lot of people aren't going to get an Xbox One just to play the same game if they have it on the 360. Because I don't think that's not going to happen, or fail, at least. And there's also, what was the other, oh yeah, they even announced it that they made a streaming partnership with Twitch TV, which is the most popular streaming channels to go to if you want to stream, live stream gameplay of your games. Whereas Sony partnership with Ustream, that a lot of people don't really like that gaming studio. And so I think maybe, and you can add commentary, but here's the problem. You have to use you gotta use the Kinect control via, and it's like, oh my god, god damn it. Yeah, so I think this is good that Microsoft's doing this, but to me, this is a big flop. So anyways, I want to thank you guys for watching this. I do think this conference was a slight better than Microsoft's, but not that much though, actually. So I'm gonna give Microsoft's conference a 3 out of 5. It was better than the Microsoft conference a couple weeks back, just not that much though. Oh, and they didn't even focus on the controversies on the TV features and stuff like that. Like, aren't you gonna mention if these things are true or not? Like, come on, Microsoft, you gotta at least mention it. So anyways, that's it for Microsoft's press conference. So thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Peace out.